How did white people mess up a 400-year head start? How did this happen?
This is a question I ask myself whenever I'm scrolling on social media and then I come by, say, a homeless white person. In my head, I'm always like, what do you mean you are white and homeless? How exactly did this happen? Like, what do you mean you are white but you are poor? Like, Bikonu, abeg, take mic, please, and explain to us all exactly the fuck how that happened. How did it go wrong for you? Exactly. How, with all of that privilege, you still ended up homeless? Like, what excuse do you have? So, you mean to tell me that after all of the pillaging, the slavery, the colonization, the thievery of lands and resources, and the creations of them indigenous peoples globally that your ancestors did to make life easy for you, so parachutes you right from the womb even to success, somehow you still ended up unsuccessful and a failure? All of that privilege that was handed to them on a platter on their laps, but somehow they fumbled it. I don't know about anyone else, but that low key annoys me. I'm not even going to lie.
How is it that a nation of people, a race of people, held people of color by the collar while they allowed their people to get a 400-year head start? You sabotaged anything we could have done. We couldn't read, we couldn't write, we couldn't unify in any way, we couldn't congregate in any way. We weren't even considered human. See, this is why I am so proud to be black. I'm so proud to be a person of color because we have the best story ever told. Regardless of what criticisms I've given my people, regardless of what critiques, regardless of what I've said about my people, I still view us as the greatest. And by us, I mean people of color.
For real, because if you look at it, after everything that Black people have gone through, they were still able to, even within the time they were being subjugated, create amazing things. I remember when I first found out about Black inventions, and of course, the time frame when these inventions were made. And I'm like, you mean to tell me that during this time, you guys were still able to create all of this, do all of this? So I cannot help but wonder if Black people could have been doing this, if our brothers and sisters in the diaspora could have been doing this even while they were being subjugated. Imagine the things they could have done if they weren't subjugated at all.
Don't you know who you are? These people held you by the collar, held you in place so you couldn't move, learn, do nothing by yourself. Also, they can stay ahead of you. Do you understand what that means? That means that they know how powerful you all are. They know how powerful a black woman is. They know how powerful a black man is. Because if they didn't, guess what? They would have pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps and built America on their own instead of going and kidnapping slaves. Oh, wait, white man, I know what you about to say. Oh, but black people weren't the only slaves. No, we weren't. But we were the only ones who've had our identity completely stripped from us. We are the only ones who have been completely separated and don't even know the origins of African Americans. Oh, but Africa sold you guys into slavery. No. The very few chiefs, kings that did that, that cooperated, were considered outcasts, alienated, were considered traitors well before that transaction even happened. And plus, it's kind of hard to deny a transaction when we ain't got nothing but bows and arrows and y'all showing up on ships with rifles making offers that we literally cannot refuse. Let's not forget how America plays.
They be giving you options, but you don't really have a choice though. Because if you don't pick what they want you to pick, you get sanctions. You get this thrown at you. This get banned. But they be telling you you have a choice. It's like the free will that exists in the Bible. They'll be telling you how you have a choice to decide whether or not you want to serve the Bible God. But if you choose to not serve him, you burn in hell for all eternity. That's not free will. That's literally an ultimatum. I once told somebody that asked me, oh, if you are no longer religious, what happened? And I told this person, I said to him, I mean this with all the respect available in the world, but one of the reasons I stopped being a Christian, there's like a plethora that I can't get into. Or one of the reasons I stopped being a Christian is because looking at the God of the Bible, when I really paid attention to how the God of the Bible be acting, it's giving too similar to colonizers for real. I see too much similarities in the way they operate, so I left respectfully.
After leaving religion, the most popular question that you get asked is, so what do you believe in now? Who are you serving now? You see, that question is just like me having a master. Maybe I was a slave and I was able to escape, and then people are asking me now, so who's going to be my new master? Who am I going to be slave to now? That's exactly what it sounds like.
Oh, but Africa sold you guys into slave. No, 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 no. The very few chiefs, kings that did that cooperated, were considered outcasts, alienated, were considered traitors well before that transaction even happened. And plus, it's kind of hard to deny a transaction when we ain't got nothing but bows and arrows and y'all showing up on ships with rifles, making offers that we literally cannot refuse. Let's not forget how America plays. Let's not forget how America presents you with an offer, but the offer is really rhetorical. It's really a trick question.
There are certain nuances that we need when we are conversing in general. And more so, we need nuances when we are talking about history. But unfortunately, not many of us operate with nuance. So let's try to bring some nuance into this conversation of our ancestors sold us into slavery. Let's start this conversation with the example of armed robbers barging into your home in the middle of the night. You are in your home sleeping with your family, and a group of armed robbers barge in. Against your consent, they break down your door. They have guns. They want your money. They want your jewelry. You are on your knees or lying flat on the ground with a gun to your head and the heads of the rest of your family members. You have no power here. You are not in control of the atmosphere. But these armed robbers, after taking all that you have, which is valuable, are now asking you for the permission to give them your daughter, even though you know in this situation that they are genuinely not even asking you for permission because they can take her anyways, but just to haunt you, to torture you even more. They want you to make the decision, and you in your head thinking, maybe I should sacrifice one for the sake of the rest. You decide to sacrifice one of your daughters. All these armed robbers are gone after taking your money, after taking your jewelry, and after having their way with your daughter. And now these armed robbers went and wrote their side of the story. And they said, he said we can have her, knowing fully well that he made that decision out of duress. This man was in his home, remember. He wasn't the one who went out to look for armed robbers that would come rob him and have their way with his child. But now, because the armed robbers were the ones who were able to get their side of the story out first, the story out there is that this man gave his daughter to the armed robbers to have their way with. When we have these conversations, and I see African people say our ancestors sold us, without putting into consideration the atmosphere that our ancestors were in at the time. I feel like it's very unfortunate that we do this, and we do not only ourselves but our ancestors a great disservice. These people were in their own homes. They were on the continent minding their business. These other groups of people traveled across the ocean, and they came into our home, Africa, with weapons. Totally changed the atmosphere of the place. They took over the continent. People were now living in fear. Now you have these people making decisions that ordinarily they would not have made if these people did not come on their continent to change the atmosphere. I don't know what angers me the most when I see Africans drop comments like this. I don't know if it's the narrow-mindedness that is in obvious display, or the fact that they are in 2023 on their mobile phones in a far more stable time, in a far more stable climate than the one that our ancestors were in. Judging our ancestors for making decisions that I know for a fact that they were not proud to make, but they had to make these decisions for their survival. And the fact that they even made these not so proud decisions is the reason why we are here. Like, it truly is mind-boggling that some of us can be on this high horse right now. And the only reason why we can even climb on this horse is because of these people that you are judging so harshly. And the holier than thou attitude that some of us have to judge these people when we don't even know what decisions we would have made if we were the ones in the situation that our ancestors were in. But we think we can judge people who were in their homes. Again, our ancestors were in their homes. The terror took a boat and invaded their homes and put them in a tight spot. You guys speak like our ancestors were living in the same climate we are living in right now. Some of people make it seem as if they even put a call through to the colonizers and their slavers. Oh, hello, cream. Is that Queen Elizabeth? You know what? I think I have a few people I want to sell to you. Like, in you people's heads, is that how it plays out for you? Because guess what? That wasn't what happened. They were selling us without our consent. Have you for a second even considered if our ancestors consented to the selling to begin with? Of course you haven't. You don't think about their perspective. You don't think about their side of the story. Why should you, right? The colonizers have told you what you should think about, think, feel, and believe, right? And again, I will continue to ask, they sold us. Where are the things they sold us for? What did our ancestors get for selling us exactly? Where is the ancestral wealth? The old money families that were into selling Africans, where are they? Because I need evidence of this trade. In America, families who were big into, slavery, we know these families. We see their money till date. Where our African people who sold us, where are their own? That's why I want to know. I just want to remind you guys that our ancestors were in their homes. They were in their homes minding their business. They didn't ask for all the things that happened in the past to happen. Yes, they may have made some decisions that they are not very proud of, but they were decisions they had to make to survive. Survival was why they did the things that they did. So to blame these people that had no control over what was going on really, they had guns to their heads while they were making these decisions. But you would rather blame our ancestors and not the people who came into their homes and changed the climate that resulted in them or created the situation for them to need to make this kind of decision to begin with. In case you guys have not noticed it yet, our ancestors were victims. They were in their bloody homes minding their business.
It's very sad. It's very unfair that the only perspective we have to go off of is that of the enslavers. And I also think it's unfair that some people just take their words for it. I mean, come on, we're talking about a group of people that were colonizers and enslavers and arrow warders and thieves. They committed all sorts of crimes. But somehow, some people think that these people who did all of these things and then some more can't lie. Let's be so for real. It just amazes me sometimes that people still take the colonizers' rhetoric seriously. Like, how do you even believe this kind of people? They've proven to us that they are not morally upright people, but somehow people believe that they would write down the truths in history. This is why I said in one particular video that got taken down, maybe I'll be able to find like a repost or a duet or something on someone else's page. I'll check. But in this particular video, I said, I don't know, but I struggle with believing that people who could make things like this would be in awe of a mirror.
That doesn't add up.
For those of you who don't know, but there is this history about how the colonizers basically said that the Africans sold some of their own for things like mirror and umbrellas and a bottle of gin and whatnot. I'm like, that don't make no sense.
History wants you to believe that when the colonizers came to Africa, we were backward, uncivilized, uneducated, uncouth, barbaric savages, and we were in awe of mirrors and umbrellas, and even sold our families away into slavery for mirrors and umbrellas. History wants me to believe that the people who made all of these arts that are presently sitting in museums in the Western world were made by people who were backward, uncivilized, and uneducated. These people saw mirrors and were in awe. Take a close look at this majestic art. Shout out to Mali, by the way. This is from Mali. You see the star signs, 2 star signs that's clearly crested on this art. Stars that both have a half moon over them, to be specific. This was made before colonization and was stolen during. Bless my ancestors. They want me to believe that they could do this, but they were backward, uncivilized savages who were in awe of mirrors. You are probably wondering, why is she going on and on and on about the mirrors? Yes, I have to go on and on and on and on about the mirrors, because maybe if I go on and on and on about the mirrors enough, it will start to make sense as to how exactly a people who can do this would be in awe of mirrors. The people who created all of this were considered to be 3/5 of a man, less than humans. But then they came and stole the works of these men that were less than men and put them in museums where we cannot even find their own works to compare with. A people so great and progressive that was spread out all across the continent was reduced to nothingness in the history books. And the saddest part is that we, the descendants of these people, believe the BS in the history books. Quoting Darren, a South African TikToker who once said, "They interrupted our civilization. They did not bring us one."
These people want to convince us that a group of people that had palm wine, a group of people that have their own local alcohol, gin, we call our local one over here in the South, Ogogoro. We have that. Very strong and very nice, by the way. But they were somehow in awe of the gene that the white man brought. Even if they can't make mirrors, you mean to tell me that in all of the years they've been trading with the Asians, they've never exchanged mirrors? That they will not be in awe of mirrors? That don't make no sense to me.
Dear African child, be careful what history you read. Dear African people, we need to start doing something about the history that's being taught on this continent. Yes, victors really do write history, but it's up to us to have common sense and really take a close look at the victors' history, scrutinize it, because it could very much be white lies that mimics fogs that inhibits you from seeing your paths to your black truths. Have a lovely day.
These people's museums are filled to the brim with the things that Africans made, the things that our ancestors made. But let them tell it, and it's Africans that were in awe of their stuff.
Side eye. Side eye.
You are a liar. Lies, lies, lies.
I keep telling people, believe these people and their quote-unquote history at your own risk.
Throughout all the trial and tribulation, throughout all the horrific acts done by you, we are still here. So I ask again, how did you fumble a 400-year head start? How did you fumble a point in time where you were trying to completely eradicate people of color and you couldn't do it?
And guess who's slowly going extinct? And nobody's even trying to eradicate them.
Did to me. People, get over it. By the time these young people get ready to have children, they will realize that as the hole in the ozone layer gets larger and larger, more and more sunlight is allowed to enter our environment, and more people who have pale faces are going to die of melanoma, which is a skin cancer that you get if you don't have enough melanin in your skin. Let me tell you, people of color are going to be very much in demand for reproduction in the future. And mark my words, you're laughing now, but you wait 20 years. You won't even have to wait 20 years, because they're going to see that if they want their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren to survive, they're going to have some melanin in their skin. That's the way it's going to be. This is going to take care of itself.
It's like karma.
That's why I be so mad at my people. That's why I be so disappointed in my people. That's why I be on y'all the way I be on y'all. Because these motherfuckers know who you are. These motherfuckers know how powerful you are. These motherfuckers know your potential. They just convinced you that your potential is low. They convinced you that you're a nobody. They convinced you that you are nothing and you are lesser than them. When if that was true, they would have built America on their own. They wouldn't have had to go and get them slaves. They wouldn't have had to deal with Africa at all. They wouldn't have had to take out loans from that same tyrannical place that they say they fled from. They wouldn't have had to create alliances with France. They wouldn't have had to use Christianity to start the slave trade if they were so great. How did y'all white folks mess up a 400-year head start? It's the same thing. Every 4 years, they blaming every issue in America on people of color, on immigrants, when you're an immigrant, on Joe Biden, on Kamala Harris, on Barack Obama. They blame it on everybody except the motherfucker that created the system that we in. White people now are like, oh, woe is me, the country's going to shit. Oh my God, the immigrants. Oh my God, we're gonna lose this. Oh my God, the tyrannical government. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? The America's going to shit. No, America's been shit. You just now finding out. You late to the party. Why did you not listen to people of color when we told you all of this back then? See, when it was beneficial to be white, you ignored all of us. But now that your privilege is virtually gone, dead, because the same system, the same government, the same media that you put in place has gotten greedy and now sees you, white man, as a target too. Yes, you have privilege, or at least you had it. And this is usually where they start whining, oh, what privilege do I have today? The 400-year head start that your ancestors gave you, that's a privilege. The fact that y'all were allowed to run full sprint as far as you can run while everybody else was held in place trying to run. Can't get nowhere because they are held by their collar, by your ancestors. How did y'all fumble a 400-year head start? God, I love being black. I love being a person of color. Because do you understand the level of failure that is? Every 4 years, this damn country's on the verge of collapse. Every 4 years, it's the same policies being presented. Every 4 years, it's the same promises broken. And guess what you all do? Still participate in this system. But when shit go bad, hey, we need to change this. They're not going to change nothing. You know why? Because your vote is free. You don't demand nothing for your vote. You don't demand nothing for the dollar. You don't demand nothing for nothing. So why would they respect you? Why would they help you? Why would they rebuild America in the image it's supposed to be in when you're paying for corruption? Why would the devil change the devil's ways if you keep playing the same game that the devil likes to play? Here go the whites. It's Kamala Harris, it's Joe Biden, it's Barack Obama. No. It's America.
Everything this brother said, that's the video. I came by this video a little while back. This video is from before these recent elections even. So I wonder what brother is even saying right now, given the recent turn of events and how them folks are spiraling.
I've reached the part in this whole like class consciousness part where I'm just filled with the most impotent rage and like I'm talking that white hot I need to sink my teeth and into something and scream kind of rage. Because what do you mean that it never had to be this hard for us? Like, what do you mean in other countries they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries? What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes? because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck.
But guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, I'll be catching you in the next one. Bye.